you filled yourself with determination and set 12 alarms for tomorrow. Determined to start the day early, ready to be productive? But when the first alarm rings, the temptation to hit the snooze button is irresistible. All that enthusiasm from the night before disappears, and suddenly, getting out from under the covers feels like one of the hardest tasks in the world, almost as complicated as pronouncing Worcestershire sauce, that famously unpronounceable English condiment. The day, which has barely started, already feels like an adversary you want to avoid at all costs rather than a challenge you're ready to face. While the cursor blinks on your computer screen, the total list seems to stare at you, begging to be completed. You know you should be working, but you just can't start. And when you try, the distractions on the internet become irresistible. You jump from tab to tab, scrolling through social media feeds, hoping the algorithm serves you something you can't miss. The cycle continues, refreshing YouTube endlessly, searching for that quick-cut, engaging video to hold your attention for a few minutes. But this isn't one of those videos. It's just me, my shaved head, a notebook, a pen, and some notes to share with you. Everything I've described so far, I've experienced it too. That's why I can confidently say, you're not lazy. You're lost. Lost in an avalanche of super stimuli you can't control. And believe me, that's completely normal. We're living in an era of the most overwhelming stimulus bombardment in human history. It's not that you're weak or incapable, it's practically a miracle to be able to focus. This video will be different from what you're used to. No frantic edits or flashy graphics. It's just me, talking directly to you. Think of this as a moment to calm your mind. A pause to give your brain a break. My goal is simple. To explain why you're so overstimulated and show you 3 essential points to help you focus and regain control of your life. I understand how it feels. It's one of the worst sensations in the world to lay your head on the pillow at the end of the day feeling like a failure for not accomplishing even simple tasks. Maybe you didn't send that work email, open a document to write 2 paragraphs, or even read the 5 pages you promised yourself. This doesn't happen because you're lazy or disinterested in life, but because at some point, you lost the ability to focus on more complex tasks. Before continuing, let me make one thing clear. This video won't solve all your problems at once. It's just a guide, a starting point for what you need to do from now on. The first step is simple: watch this video until the end. I know you might feel the urge to open another tab, check comments, or even glance at your phone. But stop. Focus here. This is the first step to regaining control of your mind and, consequently, your life. What I'm about to share with you is powerful. It worked for me, and it works because it's backed by science. Take a deep breath, calm down, and join me. The first point is understanding why you're so Yes, dopamine is the culprit, but not in the way most people think. While dopamine is commonly associated with pleasure, its primary role is motivation. A fascinating study illustrates this well. Researchers placed an animal with its dopamine system turned off, next to a lever that released food or even cocaine directly into its bloodstream, a highly pleasurable stimulus. While the animal was near the lever, it kept pressing it to receive the stimulus. However, if it had to move a bit to reach the lever, requiring some effort, it gave up. It knew the pleasure was there but lacked the motivation to pursue it. Dopamine is tied to the pursuit of external pleasure. For our ancestors, this was crucial. It motivated them to hunt, seek water, and find shelter. Today, however, the same dopamine drives us to stay glued to Instagram stories or binge-watch Netflix. We live in a world of superstimuli that constantly bombard our dopamine systems, pushing our pursuit of immediate pleasures to the extreme. The secret is learning this and gradually regaining control over your motivation and goals. This overstimulation makes our dopamine signaling deficient. In other words, we need more dopamine to feel the same effect we previously achieved with less. That's why you feel unmotivated to read, write, study, or work. These activities can't compete with the instant gratification of social media or streaming platforms. Superstimuli hijack our reward system, tricking the brain into believing we're on the verge of something vital for survival. That's why we feel an irresistible urge to open an Instagram notification. One of the most important discoveries in neuroscience over the past 75 years is that the brain processes pleasure and pain in the same area, and they function like a balance. When you eat chocolate or scroll through Instagram, you experience a dopamine spike and feel pleasure. The brain then compensates by downregulating dopamine, trying to restore balance. To do this, it begins to tilt the scale toward pain. Sometimes, the brain overshoots, leaving you feeling worse afterward. Dr. Anna Lemke, author of Dopamine Nation, uses the analogy of gremlins. The brain adds these little creatures to the pain side of the balance to restore equilibrium. However, these gremlins like to linger, making the balance excessively tipped toward pain. That's why after indulging in fast food or mindlessly scrolling through Instagram, you feel a negative effect. Today, there's no shortage of easy sources of pleasure for the brain. We constantly live with the balance tipped toward pleasure due to continuous stimuli. When you stop for a moment to be at peace with yourself, the brain compensates on the pain side, leading to thoughts like, "My life is awful." Although we can't change how our brain works, we can learn to manipulate this internal balance. The key lies in first tipping the balance toward pain, forcing ourselves to engage in effortful activities like studying, reading, exercising, or sticking to a diet. When we do this, the brain naturally compensates by tilting toward pleasure. This compensation allows us to experience pleasure more balanced and healthily. Gradually, as you reduce your reliance on immediate gratification, your life will become more satisfying overall. The secret is learning to embrace discomfort consciously and healthily. By seeking positive suffering, the kind that comes from productive activities, you'll recalibrate your balance, leading to long-term benefits. In this video, we'll focus on 3 fundamental pillars to help recalibrate your balance: the mind, the body, and the power of yet.